Have you ever looked back on your life and thought, if only I had known this sooner? Life is a journey of lessons, some learned through laughter and love, others through pain and regret. The older we get, the more we realize that the things we once worried about weren't as important as we thought, and the things we took for granted were often the most precious. But here's the challenge. Wisdom often comes too late. What if we could see life through the eyes of those who have already walked the path before us? Imagine sitting down with someone who has lived through decades of change, witnessed both triumphs and failures, and come to understand what truly matters. They wouldn't waste time on shallow concerns or fleeting ambitions. Instead, they would tell you about the simple yet powerful truths that make life meaningful, about relationships, resilience, and the quiet joy of everyday moments. Today, we're sharing timeless lessons from those who have already faced life's biggest challenges. Some may confirm what you've always felt in your heart, but never put into words. Others may challenge your perspective, offering a new way to see the world. No matter where you are in life, these insights can help you live with more peace, purpose, and fulfillment. So stay with us until the end, because one of these lessons might just be the wake-up call you need to embrace life with clarity and wisdom. Let's begin. 1. Mastering emotions and relationships. Life is a wild, beautiful ride, one that hands us joy and heartache, laughter and tears, all woven together into a tapestry of lessons we only fully see as the years pile up. When we're young, everything feels so urgent, so overwhelming. Emotions hit like storms, and relationships seem like they'll last forever. But as time softens our edges, we start to see things differently. The chaos quiets down, and a gentle clarity creeps in. Suddenly, we realize that the secret to a good life isn't about dodging the hard stuff. It's about learning to dance with it. Emotions and relationships. They're the heartbeat of our days, and figuring them out is how we find peace, meaning, and a happiness that sticks around. Let's talk about emotions first because they're tricky little things. They're not here to be good or bad. They just are. What matters is what we do with them. Take anger, for instance. It's got a bad reputation, doesn't it? People think it's this ugly monster that ruins everything. But I've learned it's not the anger itself. It's how we handle it. Anger can light a fire under you. It can push you to stand tall when someone's walked all over you, or to speak up when the world's gone wrong. I remember a time when my neighbor kept letting his dog dig up my garden. At first I stewed in silence, but one day that anger bubbled up, and I marched over there, not to yell, but to say, "Hey, let's figure this out." It worked. He fixed the fence, and we even ended up sharing a coffee now and then. Anger didn't ruin anything. It built something. But here's the catch. If you let it loose without reins, it'll burn bridges faster than you can blink. So when it flares up, take a breath. Ask yourself, is this worth the fight, or can I shape it into something better? That pause, it's your power. Sadness is another one we wrestle with. Oh, how we try to shove it away, like it's a crack in our armor. But let me tell you something I've come to know. Sadness isn't weakness. It's proof you've lived. It shows up when you lose someone you love, when plans fall apart, when the world shifts under your feet. It's not the enemy. It's a quiet friend reminding you that you've cared deeply. I think of my old friend Margaret, who lost her husband after 40 years together. For a while, she was a shadow, wouldn't leave the house, wouldn't talk much. But one rainy afternoon, she sat on her porch with a cup of tea, letting the tears come. She told me later, "I didn't fight it that day. I just let it be." And slowly, she started smiling again. Not because the sadness vanished, but because she let it flow through her. It taught her to cherish the little things, the smell of rain, a kind word from a stranger. Don't run from sadness. Let it visit, let it speak, then let it go. It'll leave you richer for it. Now, relationships, those are the threads that tie our lives together, aren't they? Some folks are with us for the long haul, others just pop in for a season. And here's where we often trip up. We cling too tight to people who aren't meant to stay. We hang on to friendships that drain us, family ties that sting, or old loves we think we can fix. But as the years roll by, you start to see it. Not everyone's meant to have a front row seat in your story. I knew a woman, Ellen, who spent decades tied to a friend from her school days. They'd been thick as thieves once, giggling over boys and sharing secrets. But over time, that friend turned bitter, always griping, always tearing others down. Ellen kept trying to save it out of some old loyalty. Then one day, after another exhausting phone call, she thought, "Why am I doing this?" She didn't cut her off with a fight or a fuss. She just stepped back, wished her well in her heart, and let it fade. Ellen said it felt like setting down a heavy bag she'd carried too long. Letting go isn't giving up. It's choosing yourself. It's saying, "My peace matters more than this." And oh, how freeing that is. The older I get, the more I treasure the ones who lift me up, the ones who laugh with me, listen to me, respect me. The rest? I send them off with a smile and a wave. Time's too short to waste on folks who dim your light. You don't have to fix everyone. You don't have to keep every door open. Surround yourself with people who feel like sunshine and let the others drift away. That's not cold. It's wise. Here's the big shift that comes with age. You stop waiting for the world to make you happy. We've all done it, haven't we? If my kids would just visit more, if my partner would just get me, if my friends would just see how much I do. But happiness isn't a gift someone hands you. It's a garden you grow yourself. No one's job is to fill your cup. That's on you. And the moment you grab that truth, everything changes. You stop blaming, you stop begging, and you start building. It's like turning the key in a lock. Suddenly you're free. Starting over used to scare me silly. I thought it meant I'd failed, that I'd lost everything. But now, I see it's a gift. Every time you begin again, you're not at zero. You're carrying a lifetime of know-how. Take my friend Tom. After his wife passed, he was lost. 50 years of marriage, gone. He'd sit in that empty house, staring at the walls, thinking his best days were behind him. But one morning he dug out an old dream they'd shared, seeing the Grand Canyon. He booked a trip, just him and his memories. Standing there, watching the sun dip below those cliffs, he felt alive again. It wasn't about erasing her, it was about carrying her forward. He's traveled ever since, met new faces, found new joys. Starting over isn't starting from scratch, it's starting with wisdom. And through it all, one lesson shines brightest. Kindness beats pride every time. It's so easy to dig in, to cling to being right. But what's it worth? I've seen families split over silly arguments, friendships fade over stubborn grudges. Was it worth it? Years later, no one cares who won. They just miss the love they lost. I think of my own stubborn streak once, when I stopped talking to my sister over some forgotten spat. Months turned into a year, and pride kept me silent. Then she called one day, voice shaky, just to say she missed me. I melted. We laughed, we cried, and I realized being right wasn't worth the silence. Choose kindness, even when it's hard. Forgive, not just for them, but for you. Peace is worth more than any victory. Life loves to toss us second chances, new loves, mended ties, dreams we shelved. Don't let them slip by. Maybe it's picking up that paintbrush you put down decades ago, or reaching out to a kid you've drifted from. Grab it with both hands. You might not get another shot. And every morning, wake up and whisper to yourself, "I'm in charge of my joy. I won't cling to anger. I'll keep the good ones close and let the rest go. I'll embrace the new, not fear it. I'll choose kindness no matter what." Because here's what it all boils down to. Life's not about the stuff you stack up, the money, the titles, the years. It's about the heart of it. Did you love with everything you had? Did you forgive when it hurt? Did you chase joy like it was yours to claim? Did you leave a little light behind? That's what matters. So ditch the regrets. Embrace the messy, beautiful now. Choose happiness. Choose peace. Choose love. After all these years, that's the view that makes life glow in a whole new light. 2. Embracing responsibility and resilience. Life's a funny thing, isn't it? It sneaks up on you with lessons when you least expect it. Sometimes they drift in gently, like a breeze carrying the scent of a memory you'd almost forgotten. Other times, they crash down like a thunderstorm, rattling everything you thought you knew. But as the years stack up, one thing gets crystal clear. Resilience and responsibility aren't just fancy words. They're the quiet, steady roots that hold us up no matter what comes our way. They're the gifts age hands us, showing us how to live, not just survive, with a heart full of grit and grace. One of the sweetest freedoms I've found as I've gotten older is realizing some things just aren't mine to carry. You know that feeling, when you're tangled up in worry over something you can't fix. Maybe it's a choice someone else made, a door that closed long ago, or a what if that keeps circling your mind. It's like trying to hold water in your hands. It slips right through, and all you're left with is wet palms and a tired soul. But here's the magic. When something's out of your reach, you don't have to let it weigh you down. Let it go, not with bitterness or a fight, but with a soft, okay, this isn't mine anymore. That's not giving up. It's giving yourself room to breathe. Peace doesn't always come from solving everything. Sometimes it comes from stepping back and saying, I'm done wrestling with this. I met an old guy named Frank once at a little diner where I'd stop for coffee. He had this easy smile, but his eyes told a story. Over a plate of pancakes, he told me about his son, who'd moved across the country years ago and barely called. Frank used to spend nights staring at the phone, replaying every word they'd ever said, wondering where he'd gone wrong. It ate at him until one morning he woke up and thought, I can't change where he's at, but I can change where I am. So he stopped waiting. He started tending his garden, joined a book club, even took up woodworking. And wouldn't you know it, a few months later his son rang up out of the blue. Dad, you sound different. Happier, he said. Frank just chuckled and told me, I didn't get him back by chasing him. I got me back by letting go. That's the beauty of it. When you free your heart from what you can't control, life has a way of surprising you. And oh, how true it is. You can't lose what was never yours to begin with. You can't keep what's meant to leave, and you can't clutch tight to things that want to fly free. It's like the seasons. Leaves fall, winds shift, and new buds show up when the time's right. Fighting that flow just wears you out. If a friendship fades, wave it goodbye with a smile. If a dream slips away, trust there's another waiting around the bend. When life takes something, it's not always a theft. It's often an opening, a space for something fresh to grow. I've stopped seeing endings as losses. Now they feel like little invitations to start again. That brings me to something else I've learned. You've got to pick what matters and let the rest fall away. We used to think being busy meant being important, running around, saying yes to everything, juggling a dozen balls in the air. But here's the real deal. If you've got more than 3 priorities, you might as well have none. Spread yourself too thin, and you're just spinning wheels, tired, frazzled, and wondering why nothing feels good. It's not about doing it all. It's about doing what lights you up, what keeps your heart steady. Take my friend Clara. She's a gem of a woman who spent her whole life keeping everyone else happy. Big family dinners every Sunday, babysitting grandkids round the clock, saying yes to every church bake sale or neighbor's plea for help. She was a whirlwind, but one day she sat down with a cup of tea and looked plumb worn out. I asked her, Clara, what do you want? She blinked at me like I'd spoken another language. Then she thought about it. Turns out she'd always wanted to sew quilts. Nothing fancy, just cozy ones to wrap up in. And she dreamed of seeing the ocean, but never made the time. So she started small, bought some fabric, said no to a few things, took a weekend trip to the coast. At first, she worried folks would think she was selfish. But you know what? Her kids saw her glowing and said, Mom, we're proud of you. Her grandkids snuggled under those quilts and beamed. Clara found her spark again, all because she picked what mattered and let the extras go. That's living, not just checking boxes. Time's a sneaky thing, isn't it? It slips by so fast you barely notice until you look back and wonder where it went. Life moves at a clip, and if you don't pause now and then to soak it in, you might miss the good stuff. The way the sun hits the trees, the sound of a friend's laugh, the quiet joy of a slow morning. We tell ourselves we'll get to it later, calling that old buddy, taking that trip, starting that project we've dreamed about. But later has a habit of turning into never. I've heard too many folks late in their years say their biggest ache isn't the stumbles they took. It's the chances they let slide, the words they didn't say, the joys they pushed off for a tomorrow that didn't come. Don't let that be you. Grab today, it's yours. Resilience isn't about dodging life's punches. It's about getting back up when they land. Things won't always go your way. Plans fall apart, people leave, storms roll in. But you've got a choice. Let it knock you flat or let it build you stronger. I think of all the times I've tripped and thought, well, that's it. But every time I've found my feet again, not because I'm special, but because I've learned falling isn't the end. It's just a nudge to try a new step. The toughest folks I know aren't the ones who've had it easy. They're the ones who faced the dark and kept walking toward the light. You've done that too, haven't you? All those hard days you've weathered. They've made you who you are. And sometimes resilience means standing tall when no one else is cheering you on. There'll be days when the world feels quiet, when you wonder if anyone sees you, when doubt creeps in like a shadow. Maybe you've lost more than you thought you could bear, or maybe you're starting something new and the crowd's gone silent. But here's what I've come to know. If you're the only one left believing in you, that's plenty. You don't need a chorus, just your own voice saying, I've got this. I think of a woman named Ruth who lived down the street from me years back. She'd always wanted to bake, proper cakes, the kind you see in magazines with swirls of frosting. But life got in the way. Kids, work, a husband who didn't much care for sweets. By the time she hit her 70s, she figured that dream was dust. Then one day her daughter moved out, her house got quiet, and she thought, why not now? No one egged her on. Friends laughed, said she was too old to start a bakery. But Ruth didn't care. She baked anyway. Started small, just for herself, then for neighbors. Soon folks were knocking on her door, asking for a slice. She didn't turn it into a big business, just a little joy she shared, all because she believed in herself when no one else did. That's power. We're at a point now where we've got no time for baggage, regrets, distractions, stuff that drags us down. What we've got instead is gold, the wisdom to spot what's real, the guts to shift gears, and the heart to live wide open. Let go of what you can't fix. It's not your load anymore. Chase what makes your soul sing, not what fills your calendar. Be tough, not because life's a breeze, but because you've already climbed mountains. And above all, trust yourself, even if the stands are empty. You've made it this far, and that's no small thing. Because here's the truth that age whispers to us. This life's yours to shape. That belief in yourself, that choice to keep going. It's the spark that lights up your days. It's not about how many years you've got left. It's about how much life you pour into them. So take the reins, shrug off the heavy stuff, and step into whatever's next with a grin. You've earned it. And trust me, it's a view that'll make your whole world glow. Living fully in the moment. If you want to truly understand someone's character, pay attention to two things: how they treat those who can do nothing for them, and how they handle life when things don't go their way. The way a person reacts in difficult moments tells you more about them than years of conversation ever could. And the same applies to ourselves. Who we become in the face of hardship is a reflection of our true strength. Life is a series of transitions. Some are gentle, like the turning of seasons, while others arrive like a sudden storm, shaking everything we thought was certain. But here's a truth worth holding on to. Every ending is also a beginning. Sometimes we mourn doors that close without realizing they were leading us nowhere. The job that didn't work out, the friendship that faded, the plan that never came to life. These losses can feel painful, but in time, they often reveal themselves as redirections towards something better. The mistake many of us make is waiting for perfect conditions, waiting for a better time, waiting for happiness to arrive. But happiness isn't something you find in the future. It's something you create in the present. Life isn't about waiting for the storm to pass. It's about learning to dance in the rain. It's about finding joy in the midst of uncertainty, making peace with what is, and embracing the beauty of every moment we're given. Now, I'd love to hear from you. What's one lesson life has taught you? Share it in the comments and let's learn from one another. And as you move forward, remember this: the best chapters of your life are still being written. Stay open, stay curious, and most of all, Keep moving forward. See you in the next video.